1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Alain Regnier, and I'm here today to talk about Google Glass. I hope that's the talk you were expecting to hear, because otherwise it's in a different room. A bit about myself first. I spent 10 years in Silicon Valley. I moved back to France, where I was born. I'm the GDG Paris leader, and I have multiple activities, including consulting about some of the Google technologies. And I'm lucky enough to be one of the very first Glass Explorer, and I've been carrying Google Glass and developing on Google Glass for the last 6 months. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. I have to apologize a bit if my voice gets weird. I've been sick the whole week. It seems okay right now. Hopefully it will last until the end of the talk. A bit about what I'm going to talk today. What is Google Glass? How it works? What we can already do? Some demo, of course. I will talk a bit about the Glass Explorer program. And then I'll dive into the development part with some examples. And then I'll give you my thoughts after 6 months, which is something I think pretty interesting, and I'd like to get feedback from you, even after the conf, if you have ideas about the glass and about what I'm talking about. And I'll try to keep some time for Q&A at the end. So first, what it is. For a lot of geeks in America, this is what we thought when we first heard about Google Glass. Geordi LaForge, Star Trek. Maybe less European people know about this character, but in the US he was very popular. And this is what Google came up with at first. So this is a prototype Google showed us at Google I/O this year, one of the early prototypes of Google Glass. And this is kind of the history of the Google Glass, starting from having a mounted cell phone on the side to the prototype on the bottom right, which is the one today. So fortunately, it evolved a lot, and this is extremely light. And this is really something to keep in mind. Once you have them on your nose, you almost forget about them. Okay. So this is, the current product. One thing to keep in mind, this is only a developer prototype, even though it looks all shiny and with a nice design. We have no idea if this is what the final product will be, or if it will ship like that. Just a reminder, of course, it's not available in the public right now. Hopefully it will be in 2014. At this moment, only the members of the Glass Explorer program have access to it. A few technical details about the glass. It's a 640 by 360 pixel screen with an integrated camera that can take pictures and video, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, video support, of course, audio support, with 16 gig of storage, with 12 really available. Very flexible support, which is nice because you tend to bend them very often. And I'm actually a bit surprised that after 6 months, they are still in one piece, because it's very fragile, and thanks to the flexibility, still fine. Some more technical details. Interesting thing, it's running Android, and it's Android 4.0. It has a microphone. It has a bone conduction transducer. That means you hear the sound through vibration on your skull. So there are changes around that, because this is a very nice technology, but in a noisy environment, it's a bit difficult to hear. And some of you may have heard that they are about to swap the current prototype to a newer version, a bit different, that will come with an earpiece. Hopefully that will fix the problem in noisy environment. It has different sensors like gyroscope, accelerometer, magnetometer, proximity sensor, ambient light sensor, and even a secret sensor. So I don't know if it's still very secret, but I know a few months ago nobody really knew about it. It looked like a camera facing your eye that at some point could be used to follow the direction of your eye, or maybe just do some security thing by taking pictures of your eye. We didn't know at the time. Maybe some people are in the secret now, but I'm not. And I didn't really look into it, but it's just fun to know that there is this weird piece of sensor there that officially we don't know about. Very Google style. How it works. So basically, if you look at the glass, this piece here contains a prism where the projector on the side, I don't know if you can see very well, but can you see? No. The projector here sends the picture in the prism. And this is an overlay of what you see, but only above your eye. If you look at me, you can see that I still have my field of vision almost intact. I can still see you all very well, and when I want to see the image sent by the glass, I just have to look up. I look towards the prism. A different view here illustrates that with the projector on the side sending the picture on the prism. Now, the important thing to understand about the glass is what we call the timeline. Everything that you've done and received is in the timeline. And the timeline is made of cards that can be pictures, information, HTML content, maps. And you simply browse through those cards using the trackpad on the side of the glass. I will do a demo a bit later. When you see something on the top right corner of a card, it means there are other cards related to it. So if you just tap the pad, you will go deeper into that card and into the following cards. So for example, if I'm looking for the direction to Moulin Rouge, I can go to the map and see the map on the screen. One thing interesting also is that the most recent cards appear on the left, and the oldest one disappear on the right. You don't delete them. So when you get a notification from the New York Times, from CNN, or from Twitter that creates a new card, you don't really have to discard it or delete it. It will just fade away at the end of the timeline. The cards, 4 main types of cards: text, very basic, image, of course, video, and HTML. So, of course, it's not fully HTML compatible, but you can still do a fair amount of things in HTML. Controls. There are 3 main ways to control the glass. The first one is the voice, by saying, OK glass, followed by the command. So you may have heard of a joke at the very beginning when the Glassware launched, where someone would just run next to a Glass Explorer and say, OK glass, show me porn. This was a very interesting joke, and everybody laughed, except that it doesn't work. And it doesn't work for a very simple reason. In order to give an order to your glass, you first need to activate the glass. And activating the glass is very simple. You just tap on the trackpad on the side, or, let me get out. Or there is an easier way that you can actually configure, is you just move backwards, which is kind of nice, I think, because you don't even have to touch. The angle can be configured for you. Because I tend to move my head a lot, I set up a strong angle, because I don't want the light to turn on all the time every time I move my head. But that's pretty much how it works. And that's why, in order for the joke to actually work, he also has to tap the side of the glass. So the trackpad, you can click on the trackpad, which will activate, select, or do OK on the action you're doing. You can swipe down, to go back. It's kind of like an escape. You can swipe left or right to navigate the timeline. Again, I will demonstrate them a bit later. You can swipe down with 2 fingers to exit. There is a button here on the top, which is a camera button. So if I press the button, even if I'm not doing anything else, I'm taking a picture. Again, I'll show you later. Or you can record a video if you press the button long enough. And the last part is the application. You have two types of application, the MyGlass Web and the MyGlass Mobile. I will talk a bit more about them later. First, what we can already do, we can take a picture, we can record a video, we can perform a search on Google, we can request directions and get GPS navigation. And this actually, to me, was very helpful the first time I tried it in California, because now I'm based in France, and when I travel to California and I want to use GPS, I have to have my cell phone next to me in the car, and which is not very convenient. And getting GPS navigation in the glass means that you have the voice that tells you turn right in 200 meters directly from the glass. And when you want to see where you are on the map, you just do this. The screen turns on, and it shows you exactly where you are. And after a few seconds, it disappears to save battery. But every time there is an important turn or important change to do, the screen will just turn on above your eyes, again, above your eyes. And this was extremely convenient. So some of you may have heard the story first in Canada a few weeks ago, and now in California more recently, of a woman, in both cases, getting a ticket because she was wearing glasses while driving. For the California one, as far as I understand, first she was speeding, so she was going to get a ticket anyway because she was driving too fast. And the second thing is, she was wearing the glass in front of her eyes like this. And this is not the recommended way. The recommended way is really to have the glass above your eyes and still keep your field of vision open. And that may be the reason why she got a ticket. Again, for GPS navigation, I really liked it, and I really hope it never gets forbidden to wear glasses in a car. You can send a message. You can call a contact very easily. You can participate in a hangout. So glasses get updated every month, which is nice because you get new features, you get bug fixes. The not so nice part is that you don't have a choice. So you're preparing something, you're preparing a demo for DevOps, and you're 3 days before DevOps, and all of a sudden you get a message saying, don't turn it off, we're updating. You don't know what's going to happen after the update. You just pray that it will still work fine. And my experience with Hangouts was that it worked with some of the builds and not so well with some of the builds. But it's actually a very nice experience to do a Hangout with someone remotely in front of his computer, you using the glass, because the person can actually see what you're seeing. You can receive notification, emails, Google+, Google Now, and you can install Glassware. I'll talk a bit more about that later. Glassware is basically our application that have been developed for Google Glass. Now, going back to the MyGlass Mobile, this is a simple application that lets you associate your Google Plus account with the glass, for example, so that all the pictures you take are automatically synchronized with your Google Plus account. It allows you to connect your glass to your mobile using Bluetooth. So this is interesting for phone calls, for example. When your phone rings in your pocket, you get a small sound in the glass. You can tap. Then you can see the picture of or the phone number of the person calling. You can tap again in order to take or not take the call. And then you use it as a Bluetooth earpiece. You don't need to take your phone out of the pocket. It's also useful to configure Wi-Fi access point, because you don't have a way to enter a key. Well, not an easy way to enter a key on the glass, but you can enter it on the phone very easily. And you can add contact, and you can activate glassware. That's where you select which of the official glassware you can use, like the CNN and New York Times, etc. And you have a MyGlass Web application, which is very similar on the web. So this is an example of glassware. This is a New York Times glassware. You can get updates with text and image, and you can actually say read aloud as an option, and the voice will read the article to you. You don't even have to watch anything, you just listen to what they say. Keep in mind, the glass right now are for American developers, basically. So everything is in English, and that has an importance. You can even get video, pictures. With CNN particularly, you can get the video and watch the video of the news of what happened. Short video, quality is not so bad, considering the size of the screen. And it's pretty convenient, actually, to watch. Some glassware, like the CNN glassware, you can actually configure which type of alerts you want to receive, because those give you notification, and you don't want to keep receiving small noise, like you got something new, do you want to look at it or not? You can configure which one you want to use. Okay, demo. Let's try demo. Let's try it. Okay, so as I said earlier, glasses are running Android, which is nice. That means we can use regular Android tools to share what's going on. For example, here I'm just using the Android screen monitor to show you what I have on my screen. So the main menu just show you the time and OK Glass, and then you can see. See what I that's actually funny. What I said earlier. In order to be able to do the joke, you needed the glass to be activated. The glass was activated, and I said, OK, glass. Well, the glass understood and then proposed me the menu of the various options, even though that's not what I wanted. So let me try something. First, I can scroll through the cards. I can get basic cards with temperatures information, traffic information, attraction, and so on, and settings. You can see the battery is charged, and it looks like I'm still connected to Wi-Fi, which is nice, but you've all experienced the Wi-Fi over the last few days. I'm not sure how well it will work. There you can see which version of the glass software you have. You can turn on or turn off debug. You can configure the angle, as I said earlier, at which that will activate the glass. And you can also turn into guest mode. Guest mode is very nice when you make people try the glass, because they don't mess up with your pictures, your video, with your settings. They are in a very in a closed mode. Okay, so let me try something. For example, OK Glass, Google, where am I? Either it doesn't know where I am, or network. Okay. Oh. So he understood what I said. That's a good thing. Again, this is for American people, and sometimes my French accent is not. Yeah. See your current location. Oh, look at that. It actually found that I'm in Antwerp, Belgium. And it's now loading the map. See, I was too quick. So it found where I was, and now it's proposing some website where I can go related to my question. You can do any type of queries. It will provide you first what it thinks are the best choices. That's not always what you expect, so you may have to browse a bit. But still, it's interesting. Let me try something else. OK, Glass, take a picture. And there you go. And so of course, I have some big lights in front of me. What can I do? So now I can actually browse the timeline, as I said, going left and right into all the things I've done on the pictures I've taken, and so on. For example, I've taken a few, you can see when I took the pictures, for example. This one was taken 47 minutes ago, and the further I go, the further in the past I go. So this is an example of New York Times. You can see on the top right the white triangle. I'm going to click on it. There are a few news. Let me try if I can click that. Oh, yeah, so this is an article, so you can read it for me. You won't be hearing it, so it's not really useful for you. Also, keep in mind there is a lag between what I see and what you see. So even if I was trying to do the video, it would be very bad for you. It would be much nicer for me on the real screen. Some alerts from New York Times, some CNN top stories. Okay, let's try it. Let's see. Again, I'm not sure how it will be for you. Okay, so I can see the video, I can hear the sound. It's a bit choppy for you, to say the least, but I think you get the gist of it, that I can actually play the video and watch the video from CNN here. Okay, so this is, if I go too fast, it's not good for you. What else could I show you from there? Yeah, this one was taken 10 hours ago. Anyway, so that's for the regular use of the glass. Now let's talk a bit about, let's go back to the slides and talk about Glass Explorer program. Just to get an idea, how many of you have heard of the Glass Explorer program? Okay, not even half. Okay, interesting. So for all of you that wonder how they can get glass, that's the only way, officially. That's the only way today. It's the Glass Explorer program. So what is it? Basically, at Google I/O 2012, around 2,000 users who registered got a chance to pay for the glass when they will be released. And it happened this year, end of April, and it officially targeted US developers. As I said earlier, I spent 10 years in Silicon Valley. I still have a foot in California, even though I live in France now. And I was lucky enough to be on that list and to be accepted with my US paperwork. Then later on, they've created the If I Had Glass contest, and around 8,000 people were selected. Basically, what the people had to do was to write a tweet or a post on Google Plus explaining what they would do if they had Google Glass. So it led to a lot of funny proposals, and some of the funniest proposals were actually accepted, and people got selected because they had a crazy idea of what they would do with a device like that. We got access to the developer prototype end of April 2013, and every week they would start giving them to, allowing registered people to pay for them, of course. The cost is $1,600, but that includes the device and access to the API. If you want to program for the glass, you have to be registered, and that's how you get it, and you get access to extra documentation that you don't have directly in the public. Access to the Mirror API and the related forums. You could attend a presentation event where they would teach you how to get started with the glass, how to set them properly. It's important because the first experience, if you just try them on, may not be so good. There are a few things to move around in order to find the right spots for you. And then very recently, actually beginning of November, Glass Explorer people were allowed to propose 3 different persons to get the opportunity to purchase Google Glass. Keep in mind, it's always purchase. It's not free. But still, this was very nice, and a lot of people asked me. I could only give 3 invites, so that was pretty difficult. This is the development prototype, the way you receive it. The bag that you can see, the gray bag below the glass, is important because it protects the electronic parts. It comes with two pair of shades, plastic shades, white one and black one. As you can see, I don't wear them because I don't like them. I don't need any. I don't have any prescription glasses, and wearing those shades just make me feel uncomfortable. I know that I look weird like that. I understand that. The newer prototype that they're going to give us and to replace this one before the end of the year is supposed to be able to integrate better shades and potentially prescription glasses. They've been working on that for a while. They've announced it. And when you think about it, someone who wears prescription glasses every day it's probably not too difficult for him to wear an additional layer to get the Google Glass features. But when you don't wear glasses every day, it gets some time to get used to wearing something on your head. So at the beginning, people thought, well, this is only for people who don't have any vision issue. Well, maybe not so much now that they will cover the prescription glasses. Okay, where are we? Okay. So a few colors for the development prototypes. A few of the results of the If I Had Glass program. For example, you may know Neil Patrick Harris. He said, I'd show what it's like to act on the set of How I Met Your Mother, the TV show. And he got selected just for that. I don't know if he really did it afterwards. You got Alyssa Milano, or Kevin Smith, the film director, very popular in the US among students and college people, where he said he would be documenting how he's making his latest movie. And the funny one in there is actually LeVar Burton. Do you know who LeVar Burton is? That's the actor who played Geordi LaForge that I showed earlier in Star Trek. And he said, if I had glass, it would be a downgrade. and he got selected because this was funny, but it was funny that he actually reacted to that. Anyway, and also Adam Savage from the Mythbusters. I don't know if you have this show in some of the European countries, but very interesting show. And okay, development. So let's talk a bit about development. At first, the development that could be done would be done using the Mirror API. The Mirror API mechanism is something a bit weird at first when you look at it, where you write your application, but instead of communicating with the glass or running the application on the glass, you run your application on the network. Your application communicates with some Google servers, and then the Google servers synchronize what happened and the request with the glass. It's using JSON over HTTPS. It's the official way to program Google Glass at this point. It's composed of RESTful services. No need to execute code on the glass. Calls need to be authenticating using OAuth 2.0. So it's a bit complex, but the good news is Google prepares a lot of it for you, so you actually don't have much to do. You have startups projects available in Java, PHP, Python, and a few other languages now. So the Mirror API is made of 5 collections. The first one is the timeline, the collection of cards. Second one is the menu items, which can be internal or customs. Third one is contact, pretty much users, Google plus circles, or application. And that's important because that's actually how you will communicate with your application, with the timeline of your application on the glass. Each application has its own timeline. So when you write your own application on the server side, you will have to share some content with the glass, with your application that will be integrated into the timeline of your application. That's how you will be able to exchange. I'll explain a bit more later. Subscription, which are used to receive notification during changes in the collection. Every time there is a change in your application timeline, you can get a notification. And finally, the location, which tell you where the last known location of the glass, which can be useful. Sorry. So, Playground. The Playground is part of the website where you can actually do some testing in designing cards for your application. You can do a lot of things to play with HTML and see how it would be generated. When you don't have glass, that's the first thing that you try, just to understand how you can customize cards. But it's very quickly extremely limited into what you can do. Authentication. I won't talk too much about that today because we don't have so much time, and I'd like to be able to answer some questions at the end. But again, Google is taking care of a lot of it for you, so I will skip that part. Just quick note, you'll get a notice like this where the name of your application is requesting permission to do a few things, and of course you have to accept them, a bit like on your Android application, for example. Okay, so I'm skipping OAuth. Now, how to develop a glassware? The first step, if you want to use App Engine, you don't need to, but it's easier, especially at first. You create an App Engine project, open to Google App Engine accounts. Then you create a Google API project. You activate access to the Mirror API, and that's when you need to be a Glass Explorer in order to be able to have access to everything. You create an online client ID to access it. Then you have to authorize two URLs, the first one on localhost for the development phase, and the second one for production on appspot.com. Then you extract your quick start project in the programming language you've chosen. You update the OAuth properties with your client ID and its secret. You update the App Engine Web XML with the identifier of the application, of course. And then you import the project in Eclipse, and you start fixing the dependencies issues. If you're lucky enough, there won't be too many, but there's always some settings that were not correctly configured. And it can actually be painful because when it's the first time you do it, you have no idea what's wrong or what you have to fix. And it depends which package you start with anyway. And keep in mind it's a development version, so there may be bug, slow. There are different things to keep in mind again, with the fact that it's a development version. Examples. Let me show you some code, but very briefly. This one is just a timeline display. The idea here is that you are calling the function list items from the Mirror client that contain as parameter the credential that was retrieved during the authentication phase and a number of items you want to retrieve. And then you call get items, and that will return you a list of timeline items. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Then, from the list of timeline items, if you want to display them on the web page of your application, for example, you have to loop through each of them, and you have to do pretty much a switch on what type of item you're dealing with. Is it text? Is it HTML? Is it an attachment? If it's an attachment, then you have to loop through the list of attachments that are available, and you have to retrieve them. So, one thing to keep in mind is that every time you make a call to the Mirror API, your daily counter increases. And I'll talk more about it later, but you are limited to 1,000 API calls per day. And when you do something like I did here, where you say, give me 100 items, and then you may have pictures that you have to retrieve as attachment. Every time you retrieve one of the pictures, it's one call. So you end up reaching the 1,000 amount very quickly, and then it doesn't work anymore. And you're pretty unhappy because you don't know what's going on, and you forgot that there was such a limitation and that you would reach it. So there is a way to go around that. You can actually create a second account on the API console. I mean, I see some of you smiling, so you probably know about it already, but this is useful at the beginning. There are ways now to request more API quota directly from Google, which was not the case at the beginning. So this is just how it would display, except that I don't have any item in the timeline here. This is a second example where I'm just inserting an item in the timeline. So again, very simple. I make a call saying action equal add text to a servlet. I check the action parameter. I create a new timeline item. Do you see my mouse? Okay. So I create a new timeline item. I insert some text, so I'm not even getting it as parameter, and this is for explanation. I'm also setting notification type. This is how you will know that something has been added. So usually you want a small noise so that on the glass you know that something has been inserted in the timeline. And then you call the mirror builder, you configure the name of the application, and then you execute it. So again, there are a lot of things going on behind the scene, but Google made it very simple for you to use. And then if you use the view that I showed earlier, this is what you would see. You would see the ID and the text that you've received. If you want to insert an image, it's very similar. You create a timeline item. You can put some text in addition to the image. You set the notification that you want to use. You retrieve your image. You insert it in the timeline as an array of bytes after setting up the name of the application, and you do execute. And the next time you refresh the screen, you can see on your web browser the image that was actually sent on your glass. And again, every time you display a page like that with 10 or 20 items with pictures, every picture you retrieve costs you quota. So it's important to keep that in mind. So I'm skipping a few other examples because we don't have too much time. Let me briefly go through a sample application I've done and I've demoed in the past. So who's that? The idea is that a new user is authenticated. We have to create and insert a contact for the application. It's important because that's how you will share content from the glass. Then you have to subscribe to the updates of this application. So the whole idea of who is that is basically I'm taking a picture, then I'm sharing the picture with the contact of my application. My application on the other side receives a notification, something has been shared with you. I receive the image, I process the image, I pretend to do some face recognition, which Google doesn't want us to do at this point, and I add a layer on the picture with who I found on the picture, and I send the picture back into the glass. That's the idea of this simple example, and this is how you have to implement it. So the user shares the picture with the contacts representing the application. We receive the shared notification, we retrieve the shared picture, we analyze the picture, we add an overlay with the result of the analysis, and then we insert it back into the timeline. So I will skip that part also because time is running. I had some details about the code in order to do that. If you're interested, we can talk about it later. And I will just run a fake demo. So this is an extract of the application running really. This is a picture I took. I share it with this contact, which is the who is this contact, the contact for the application. And then what I get back is just an image with an overlay of text with whoever I found in the picture. So Elvis Presley with a 3% accuracy. Still need to work on the algorithm. Again, I will skip because time is running. Developer guideline. First thing, we need to design for glass. It's very important. It's not just an Android device. It's a pair of glass. Always test on glass when you can, of course. Send content only if it's important right now. Don't send content that could have been important 2 hours ago, but is not important anymore, because then it ends up being like spam. Like if you give me the result of the football game from yesterday, I don't care anymore. I probably know the result already. Although I don't know the results for tonight, but that's a different story. Avoid unexpected. You don't want to surprise the user. It is very important. Best contrast is white text on dark background. This way, the overlay doesn't have any problem with what's behind it, and you can actually read. Use templates. Test with the playground. This is also important. If you have to design your card and you're not very confident about it, because it takes some time to go back and forth with the glass and so on. And if you want to display text, just send text. It will be automatically spread on several cards for you. You don't need to send several cards yourself, which would be more complex. Aha, now we're getting to the fun part. Officially at the beginning, there was only the Mirror API. At some point during Google I/O, they've announced that they were working on what they call the GDK, the Glass Development Kit, that would allow us to access things like sensors and some of the internal hardware of the glass. But that's not something you can do easily with the Mirror API, of course. I think it was in the beginning of September, maybe end of August, they've published a few samples of application that we could sideload. And the good thing about sideload is, first, when you use the Mirror API, it's limited. Because the glass is running on Android 4.0, you can simply use ADB to put an APK you've created for the glass on the glass and to run it. And you don't need to root the device to do that. And you get access to some of the internal components like sensors. This is an example. So maybe I will actually do a demo first. Okay, so I'm starting with the end just to show you the demo. This is how you push your APK that you've built specifically for glass. You simply use ADB to send it to the glass. I'm connected, okay? And next, you start it. In order to start it, I need to activate the glass first. Okay, now I've started the application, and if you, oh yeah, it's better if I show you the screen, right? If I turn my head to the left or to the right, you can see that the picture is actually turning. It's pretty choppy for you on screen, but it's very nice for me on the glass. So the nice thing about it is that we get access to some of the sensors to write a simple Android application that I push to the glass and is now running on the glass. It's still a manual hack to have to start it like that, but this is much better than what we could do before with the Mirror API. Okay, so I'm gonna exit this one, go back to the slide. So this is a few of the lines of the code that actually do that. So the important part is that on your uncreate for your activity, you get access to the sensor manager, and you register to get some of the events. Typically, what you want is you want to get gravity type events for the sample I just showed you. On sensor change, you analyze the type of event you've received, and if it's a type gravity, then you call your view, and you call the set angle method of your view to say, well, this is the current angle that we're using. And in the view, so again, this is something I put together very quickly as an illustration. Don't take this code as an example, but in your view in set angle, you just simply do a set rotation of the view based on the angle you've received, and you draw the bitmap on screen. It's as simple as that. So in a few lines to get access to the sensors and a few lines to change the view. This is a very, very, very simple Android program. Nothing else, nothing fancy to do. This is pure Android. And you get the result I showed you. This is how you install and run the APK on the glass I showed you earlier. And this is in case the demo wouldn't work. You know, sometimes shit happens, as we say. Okay, the next one is another interesting one. There is an application that you can find on the internet called Face that is side-loadable like the one I just did, that help you communicate with Glass using WebSocket. So basically what it does is it starts a WebSocket on the glass and starts broadcasting some information. For example, azimuth, pitch, and roll of the glass. I will show a demo of this. It also dispatches information if we clicked on the glass. And so very easily from the network, you can connect to that WebSocket once you have the information and do whatever you want. So I will try to do a demo. Not sure how the network will work, but this is an example of the notification you receive with different values for pitch, roll, and azimuth, for example. And to me, the key, one of the interesting ideas about that is because you're receiving a lot of them and it's kind of real time, nothing prevents you from controlling a device using those information. And what I plan to do for the next time, I don't know if you've seen the demo of the small drone from, was it Crazy Fly? I forgot the name. I'd like to try to hook it up to the glass and control the drone just by moving the glass. With that library, that should be possible. Keep in mind again that the GDK has been announced. They're working on it. It's not available yet. We've just received an email that there will be an event in San Francisco, I think in a couple of weeks, for a few people to get a first glimpse at the GDK. Hopefully, when the GDK is out, all of this will be easy to do and official. But in the meantime, this is pretty nice. So just in case the demo doesn't work, then you can simply open a WebSocket client, specify the connection, and start receiving those information. So from there, you can just write your own program that connect to the WebSocket and get this feedback. Let me try to do a demo. Okay. Okay, so if you look, you can see that when I move the glass, oh no, you can't. Sorry. When I move the glass, the APR value are changing. So what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to try this. And there you go. So I simply use the Chrome extension that offers a WebSocket client. I'm connected to the glass, and I'm getting all those updates as I move my head. Again, this is not really useful, but use that in your own program to control some device, to control something. This is much better than what we could do in the past. Now let me just do something really quick. Bye-bye. Okay, yeah, so basically, I didn't want anybody to mess up with the glass, because some of you probably noticed the IP address. That would have been bad. So no more network access. Let's go back to the slide. How much more time do we have? Okay. A few words about hacking. There was a very interesting session at Google I/O. Google actually wants you to hack the Google Glass. They tell you you're going to void your warranty, but they explain to you exactly how to do it, what you can do with it, what benefits you can get. So, you know, it's the first time I see a company doing that. It's Android. You can really put anything you want. They show they connected a Bluetooth keyboard. They've installed a lot of applications. And again, they encourage you to do it and find ideas. Now, thoughts after 6 months. For me, this is a very interesting concept with a lot of potential. And I really mean a lot of potential. I had a few ideas before I got the glass, but after talking to people, after trying things myself, after looking around at what scenario we could build, I really think there is a lot of potential. And to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but that's my personal opinion on the subject, one of the reasons Google is not releasing it to a lot of people at once is because They also know there is a lot of potential, but they don't think they have all the ideas already, and they don't want it to explode. And I think they want to keep a fair amount of the final pie of the glass market. And if they give it to the open to everybody, even if we have to pay for it, a lot of those ideas could be implemented independently without giving them much money in return. So again, that's my personal point on why they're doing it like that. They want to get a lot of feedback, and they're very open. Everything we ask them, everything we tell them, we have a community for that. They're very receptive to questions, to criticism. I think that the change about the bone transducer to a real earphone was part of the feedback. But again, a lot of potential, and just think about what you would do with it, with a device like that, and probably in a different form, not necessarily like this. The prototype is very light and comfortable. It allowed to keep normal field of vision intact. Again, to me, very important. It's a prototype for developer and explorer at the moment, so it's still a prototype. We don't know how it will be when it will be released to the public. The battery, yeah, it's bad. It's that bad. But again, it's bad when you use it a lot and when you keep doing things with it. If you just wear the glasses and take a few pictures, do a few search during your day, maybe a few phone calls, it's not so bad. So I don't know yet what the new prototype battery will be, but this is clearly an issue. It's difficult to hear in noisy environments with the current prototype. French accent is not always recognized, especially when you say, "Okay, glass, Google," and then you want to say what you want to search. The Google detection is very difficult. I'll try it maybe later. This is very frustrating, to say the least. Easy programming with the Mirror API, but limited. Quota limitation to 1,000 API calls per day. GDK coming soon. In the meantime, sideloading is great. And it's really great. More and more people are doing more and more things with it, hacking things together, and again, a lot of potential. Not yet available to the public. Should be sometime in 2014. Possible use cases, a few ideas. Facial recognition, although Google doesn't want it for now. They've been clear about it. Secondary screen for gaming. Just think about it. If you play network games, think about having your own screen to share information with a member of your team or see the map. Just not on the screen, on the main screen, but you have it there, and notification and a lot of different things. Recording of places, people with comments. When you meet a lot of people, it's nice to be able to tag them. Business cards are okay, I guess, but you just don't do anything with them, and then after a few months, you forgot who the person was. If you had a picture and you could say a few comments, I met that person here and there, and this is interesting to me because of this and this and this, I think that would be very useful. Access to medical files during surgery. So there's been already several examples of surgeon doing operation with the Google Glass on. I think it was more for the show than anything else. But afterwards, they've explained how they think it would change the way they do surgery. And that's an interesting example. Adds QR code scanning to get more details about a product and to compare prices. You're shopping, you want to compare the price, or you're working for one of the supermarkets and you want to know how many of this item you have in stock very easily and quickly. Could be done. Again, a lot of different scenarios. Control moving devices. I mentioned drones already because this is something I really want to do. See your notes while you're making your presentation. That can be nice too. Anyway. Again, a lot of potential. I think the title says it all. No comments. I really liked it. It's on the internet. For those who missed it, the guy is on a date with his girlfriend, and he's talking to his girlfriend, and at the same time he's actually watching the football game on the screen. If you want to know more, documentation for developers, big part of it is actually public. The community, you can connect to some of the forums. You can contact me directly, Alain at altolabs.com, or on Twitter, altolabs. Question, and we have 6 minutes left. I was shooting for 5. I guess I did pretty good. Question. Yes?
How much time of this 6 months did you really wear it?
Okay, very interesting question. How much time of the last 6 months did I really wear the glasses? Not so much when you consider the whole 6 months, for various reasons. First, I live in Paris, and in Paris you use mass transit a lot, and there are a lot of people in the streets, and it's very, I wouldn't say scary, but when you're wearing something like that on your head, you don't feel so comfortable. Then if you go to some places in your family, in some museum and so on, then you can, because you feel much more secure. So I couldn't give you a number. Again, the battery issues. If I know I will be gone for the day, even though I have an extra pack of battery, of course, that I can plug as a... I can just plug the micro USB to one of the regular cell phone charger that you put in your pocket, which of course will extend the battery life. So I can't really give you an estimation. It's not that big. I guess most of the time I've been using it was when I was doing development and doing testing and looking around and then moving a bit, and then outdoors it's a bit more difficult. One of the issues for me is that there's no way to secure the device. There's no way to attach it, and that's one of the criticisms I also made on the prototype, because it's still a $1,600 device that you're wearing, and even though you're paying for the access to the API. Okay? Yes? Okay, do I have the feeling that I should be able to control it with my eyes? Actually, not really. Because of this whole thing about the secret sensor, I've thought about it several times, but honestly, no, I don't feel the need to do it with my eyes. I'm not sure how I would do it first, and I'm not sure how I would do it efficiently. Of course, I can look left or look right or look up and look down and expect that to be interpreted as a command, but that's, yeah, a wink. But yeah, but sometimes you wink, you know, by mistake. I mean, you don't control it. So no, not really. Question? Yes.
How reacts society on you when you go through to Paris with these glasses? Do they see it and act different because you could make no pictures and so on?
Okay, so are people afraid that I can make pictures with the glass? So yes, I know there's a lot of discussion about that. Do we really want to have people taking pictures directly from their glasses? First of all, there are already cheap fake glasses that can take pictures. You can find them online, you know, ThinkGadget and so on. Then a lot of people are taking pictures with their cell phone already, and you don't know about it. So one thing, let me show you. When I'm going to take a picture, and most of you should have seen a light on the screen. So it's not a real signal line. It's actually the picture I just took showed on the display. When you use the real firmware, it's mandatory to display the picture. Of course, if you hack the glass, you may be able, and you certainly can, disable that so you can take pictures and it doesn't show. I haven't had any comment about that. And I took pictures of people, mostly my friends, with other people around that just exactly like when you do it with your camera. So no, not really. Yes? Did I share it with? From the doctor? No. Is it healthy? Did I share it with the doctor? No, I didn't really. But I'm not sure what would be unhealthy. I mean, if you're carrying your cell phone in your jean pocket the whole day, I'm not sure how worse it can be. So No. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned the second edition of Glass.
Yes.
Do you get it, and do you have to pay for it again?
No, no. Okay. Yes. So Google has announced there is a new version of Glass that. Oh, sorry. So the question was. Yeah. 1, 2. Okay, sorry. So the question was about the new pair of glass. Do I have to pay for it? So Google announced there is a new prototype. The people who received the invitation, part of the 3 invitations that each Glass Explorer could send, will get the new version. And the original Glass Explorer, like me, we would get a replacement. So no, we won't have to pay for it. We'll just get a replacement, which is nice. But we already paid. Yes? Yeah, okay. How do I access secure Wi-Fi? For example, when I have to enter the password. I don't know. I faced the issue. One thing I didn't explain too much, actually, I should have, is that the glass are connected to your phone using Bluetooth. So if your phone is on the Wi-Fi and has Bluetooth on, you can actually go to the internet from the glass through the phone using Bluetooth and then out using Wi-Fi. So to answer the question, that's how I do on secure Wi-Fi. The cell phone is connected to the secure Wi-Fi. I enter the key on the cell phone, and then I just use the Bluetooth tethering to the cell phone. Yes? No comment. Yes? Sorry? Is there an API to use the glass as a secondary screen? No, not that I know of. No. Well, again, I don't know any. Question? Oh, okay, one more question. If any. Yes, sorry, I can't see you. Okay, is it possible to use the glass for virtual reality? Yes, that's something I didn't talk too much about. Keep in mind that this is only a prism that's on the top right of your, in front of your eyes, so it doesn't cover your face. So it's not a real overlay on top of reality like could be the ski goggle. There is a French company that is making some ski goggles that covers the whole eyes that really add a layer on top of the reality in front of your eyes. This is very different. I don't think on this prototype it would be usable. But on the future version and maybe on the final product, if it covers the whole eye, it should certainly be possible. Okay, thank you all. And if you have any questions, I'm still going to be around for a while. So.
Test. You can actually go out in the middle at the back, so people already perched soon enough, so you're fine.